Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. And today we are taking a look at the Vancouver Canucks captain. We just talked about Dylan Larkin and potentially what we could see on his next contract. Well, we're kind of changing things up here, looking at, on the West Coast, Bo Horvat. Now, Bo Horvat is due for a massive contract. He's coming into a situation where he signed a couple prove-it bridge deals and is expecting to get paid pretty handsomely this time around. So Bo Horvat, in a contract year, there are some questions about what he could sign for and what maybe comparables are out there across the league. Now, you look at some of the bigger contracts that the Canucks have recently signed. That is going to play a factor here for Bo. Quinn Hughes signed a pretty nice contract a couple of years back. 6-year, $47.1 million contract back a couple of years ago. Brock Besser just signed a nice extension, a 3-year, $19.95 million contract. And of course, the bigger comparable here, and that is JT Miller. JT Miller signed the big ticket. We know how things went there. 7-year, $56 million contract, $8 million annual average cap hit. So what does that mean for the captain of the Canucks? Now, you look at their cap space right now going into next summer, they have started to eat up into that. Now, you look at their cap space right now, $12.4 million of cap space next summer, which does leave you a little bit concerned because you look at their current cap situation. They have a couple guys that have to get signed. Kyle Burrows, Noah Juleson. Do those guys stay? Do they go? We don't know. Luke Shen, he's basically on league minimum at $850. He's on a pretty short deal. But here's where things are a little concerning, and the Canucks have to make a move. So, Bo Horvat, let's say he gets the number that we're projecting here. That's going to have an impact on the other two younger players that I'm going to talk about in a second. So let's get into what the comparables are likely to be for Bo Horvat. And this is from Elliot Friedman. He said, a potential comparable for Bo Horvat would be Sean Couturier's 8-year, $7.75 million per season deal. Now, I think that's definitely something to look at. I think that's actually a pretty good comparable. Sean Couturier has been one of the better players on the East Coast for the Philadelphia Flyers for the past while. So Bo Horvat does fit in that similar conversation, let alone he is the captain and the leader of the Vancouver Canucks as well. So when you look at this sort of how it's unfolding, it does leave you wondering, well, let's say he gets that 7.75. That leaves you with like $4 million of cap space to re-sign Andrei Kuzmenko and Niels Höglander. And that's not going to work, right? Now, again, we don't know what Kuzmenko is going to end up being in the National Hockey League. But we know Niels Höglander alone is probably going to get worth more than $4 million unless he completely tails off this year, which I don't expect him to do. He's going to get probably between 4.5, 5, 5.5, something in that range per season. So that eats up all your cap that you have left. So then what do you do, right? So again, that's where the Canucks have to be. You have to kind of dance with this a little bit. I could see Bo Horvat probably signing closer to 7 or 7.5, maybe even taking a little bit off of that, 7.75. Again, if that's the comparable, you have to think that the Canucks are probably going to try and wheel and deal him a little bit down, but they probably won't get very much. So when I look at that, I think between $7 and $8 million for Horvat per season is not that bad. Now, I want to hear Canucks fans' thoughts. What do you guys think of Bo Horvat? Because I've made videos before talking about how Dylan Larkin could get traded, and I thought to myself, Red Wings fans are going to be so pissed by this, and they're going to say how they'd never trade him and this and that, and of course there were some of those, and I expect that here from the Canucks fans. We'll never trade Bo Horvat, he's our guy. But I wonder if there's a little bit more of the sense, because I did get some of this from the Red Wings fans, was, yeah, you know what, Dylan Larkin isn't that good. Let's try and trade him and try and get him for something else. Are the Canucks kind of in that same camp? I think they are more toward that side of willing to trade him than keep him. I think they like the idea of somebody else maybe being the captain there in Vancouver. I think there's a lot of different factors, but I think there is definitely something to the idea that they could end up trading Bo Horvat. If that is the number he is set in stone on, between 7.5 and $7.75 million per season, he might just price himself out of Vancouver, and they just end up deciding to go with cheaper options like Andrei Kuzmenko and Niels Höglander. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you again next time.